making you gay.
So far, this is where the slow part should start. Or is it Osaka's endless story? I thought they would not do it again under this circumstance, because I believe this song would not be complete without a huge chorus of masters and princesses, as Konami said. Also, since Daydreaming is definitely going to be played on the US tour, I thought they should have a live confirmation of this song while they were in Japan, where the backing track plays an important role. However, they have not done it in 3 shows so far. I was half waiting for the piano intro to play it on this day or at Eggman's, and half thinking that no, the intro of About Us might start after all. But suddenly, Daydreaming started with Psyche singing. I had heard this pattern in previous performances in Japan and overseas, but to be honest, it caught me by surprise, and I let out an unintentional wow. But I was not the only one who uttered such a cry. The other experienced masters around me, who until then had been vigorously thrusting their arms into the air, all stiffened as if frozen, and uttered a voice that could neither be described as a moan nor a shout. I have little memory of what happened after that. I just soaked up this happy moment and prayed that it would last forever. The only thing I would add is that Konami's solo was on another level, more compelling than any solo I have heard live on this song. As soon as Daydreaming ended, I felt my body relax, and at the same time, a strange thought came into my mind. So, I would not be able to listen to About Us? What a greedy creature we humans are. No, what a greedy creature I am. Immediately, the intro of About Us started. I don't remember what happened from here on again. What a happy person I am just to have heard these 2 songs. To be honest, I can only hear Misa's wonderfully delicate bass line as a blur. I'll say no more. Listening to it there, I thought this song is as great as Daydreaming. Next up was Catharsis, as expected. Listening to this, I couldn't help but think once again that this song was very well done and really shines live. The solo part in the middle of the song was also excellent. The next song was Corellium, again as expected. The pattern of these 2 songs seems to be a fixed pattern. As I mentioned somewhere before, the performance mixing of this song on the CD was not pleasing to my ears, and I rarely listened to it on my own volition. That is why I had hoped to hear the true value of this song in a live performance. After all, this song was an extraordinary song. Moreover, in the live performance, it was 2 steps more convincing and powerful, and I had goosebumps all over my body. I had imagined it, but I would like to say that the performance was even better than I had expected. However, Psyche is amazing. As the ending of Corellium approached, I began to get awfully nervous. If things continued on as before, Sayanakidori would be next. I could not get Miku's song from the last year's online Okyuji, the original performance, not the Blu-ray, out of my mind. I thought she would be okay since it had just been on the set list for the past 3 years. But I was praying in my heart, though I am very sorry for Miku, that she would be okay with a semitone down or even falsetto. When it came to the outro of Corellium, Psyche, without hesitation, left the 4 playing behind her and disappeared into the left side of the stage. This was very typical of her or BAND-MAID. Normally, she would have left the stage after the song was over and answered the applause from the audience. After the song, Miku turned her back on the darkened stage, changing guitars, rehydrating, etc. Perhaps it is my preconceived notions, but her back looked terribly tense, and my anxiety grew again. Sayanakidori is a really special song for me. but I can't put it into words what I like about this song or why I like it at all. Anyway, I just love this song. And every time I hear it, whether it's the original, the online Okuji Blu-ray, or the acoustic live performance, I can't hold back my tears. I just want to make it clear that I'm not trying to be competitive with Alan's reaction. When Sayonaki Dori began with Miku singing, I was really relieved to hear that her voice was much better than expected in terms of tension and volume. However, I do not have absolute pitch, so I cannot immediately judge whether it is in the original key or slightly lowered. But since Konami and Misa are not switching instruments and not equipped with capos, I listened even more closely, imagining that they are probably in the original key. I'm a saxophonist of long ago, plus an outdated singer, so I don't really know, but they do equip with capos to lower a semitone in a show like this. The masters around me have also stopped thrusting their fists upward on the song and are in a prayer posture with the fingers of both arms intertwined in front of their chests. Perhaps they feel the same way I do, and it's an unconscious reaction. Miku's song continues as such an extraordinary tension reigns. The song, to be honest, surprised me. The pitch is even more stable than in the Blu-ray. The singing, too, was not just timidly trying to match the pitch, but had a moving spirit and persuasiveness that conveyed a desire to firmly convey the heart of the lyrics to us. I was so moved by Miku's thought and effort that it just filled my heart with joy. The song went on, and the solo was approaching. Konami, who had been standing in her usual position watching Miku with her mother's kind smile, approached Miku. They looked at each other. And together, they jumped up on the stage center platform and began to play that rhythm guitar solo side by side. As soon as they jumped up, Miku made a slight mistake on a chord, but nothing to be ashamed of. They both had big smiles on their faces. Needless to say, the masters around me got very excited when they saw this. The audience went from nervous to unbridled excitement. Miku and Konami looked at each other and back to back, and it seemed that they themselves were enjoying the performance more than anyone else in the venue, which made me really happy. In Japan, we call it osabi, or something like that. But what it's called in English? Is it the grand chorus? Anyway, it seems to be Konami's preference to add another completely new chorus at the end of the song after the regular chorus is over. Regardless, the osabi of Sayonaki Dori is, in my opinion, the best part of the song, and it is a wonderful presence that further changes the impression of the song up to that point. For those who hear it for the first time, it will be a moment of surprise and excitement. For Miku, however, it's the biggest challenge. After all, it is that high note that is her limitation. I have worked with many world-class singers in the classical musical field. However, it is very rare for them to sing high notes and low notes, which are their limit, in concerts, recitals, operas, and so on. This is because it depends greatly on the conditions of the throat, the venue, the weather, etc. And also because in an opera or recital, there is a high possibility that the singer has overworked their throat by singing many songs leading up to that particular piece, and they may experience a great deal of failure and humiliation. Therefore, songs that require the highest notes may not be included in the program, sung on a different note or sung in a lower key for the entire piece at a recital. Even the greatest singers in history of classical music do this, so it would be very cruel to ask Miku to ensure that she can hit those high notes in an okuji every time. Psyche, who teases Miku when she uses falsetto and says, "You ran away from it," is probably well aware of this, but she is making a very harsh demand on Miku. However, since all of the maids have evolved and grown as a result of having been subjected to such harsh demands, or having them imposed on them by themselves, I guess it's just a scene of friendly competition between them. Anyway, Osabi has arrived, the masters around me had another tense moment. At my seat, Konami's hidden guitar solo sounded just as loud as Miku's singing, but my ears were focused on Miku's singing. However, and I'm going to be honest with you, at its highest note, Miku's voice cracked and clipped a little. At that moment, I heard the old master standing next to me make a little growl. I spoke with this man after the show, and he was more than 10 years older than me and had returned home to his first Okuji to see BAND-MAID live while he was still alive. He also said that he often watches Ryan's reactions, but he didn't know about this community, so I made sure to tell him. For a moment, I too felt as if I had a knife in my heart, but what was to come was incredible. When Konami's solo, the most dramatic in BAND-MAID history in my opinion, came in as the centerpiece of the song, she played that solo with many times more the spirit than the original song, or the online Okuji Blu-ray performance. This really surprised me, and I can only assume that she was extra enthusiastic because she heard Miku's top note. The performance of Sayanakidori on this day did not bring me to tears of emotion as I had imagined. I guess people don't cry when they see or hear something more wonderful than moving.